What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content that has been on this channel as of late. Sorry for just the lack of video these past few days. Just was a little busy and just was pretty much occupied doing some stuff. And if I seem a little tired, I apologize. Just last night I was doing some stuff with a friend, and we were outside for a long time, and it was really, really cold. Um, and uh, the cold literally like my legs are still kind of tense, so um, I just feel like really out of it. Um, so yeah, if you ever go out in the cold, don't stay out there for so long, especially right now in the winter time. It was pretty cold. So also I got this little pimple. Sorry if you guys notice. I'm trying to get rid of it. It's in the worst spot possible, like right here in the back of the lip, just in the worst spot right possible. Um, but that's not going to stop me from doing videos. Uh, might be a little bit tired as I do this video, but it's not any different from any other video. So we're going to talk about uh, another topic video today because I was curious to do this last week, but nothing really happened with this particular person. So I thought that it was probably just a bad week for this person. But I guess it's more of a whole attitude problem, or at least something going on behind the scenes. I don't know. And that is involving Ridley Scott. Now, Ridley Scott, you guys know he's made some really notable films: Alien, Blade Runner. Also, if you hear some noises going on, my apologies. Family, other things outside. Um, but um, but yeah, Ridley Scott. He's made Alien, Blade Runner, two of my favorite films of all time. Um, He's also made some notable work after that: Gladiator, Alien Covenant, Prometheus, The Counselor, which I heard was pretty bad. But this year he made a big comeback with two films. He did The Last Duel, which we'll talk about, and House of Gucci. Now, I've not seen those films. I don't really have a desire to see them, really, just because the trailers didn't really impress me, and reviews have been okay. I've been kind of, like I've been suggesting a lot on this channel, I'm only watching things that I really have a desire to see. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be, like, I have to hear good things about it to go see the movie. It's just a matter of interest. Like, I could hear that the movie is terrible, and if I'm still interested to go see it, I'm still going to go see it. Like the case with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife had like decent reviews, but I wasn't wanting to see it because I just didn't, I just had no desire to really watch it. And to be clear, also my judgment is not swayed because of that. I still give every movie that I watch a fair shake. So if you notice, my Ghostbusters Afterlife review was pretty negative. That's just because what I saw didn't really work for me. It's not because I already had this ignorance of like, I don't want to see it. It was just, I just was not really that impressed with what they did. And also it's all an opinion. So, that's what reviews are about. They're all opinions. Which is something that Ridley Scott can't really figure out, because ever since The Last Duel came out, and also recently with House of Gucci, he's been going on a slandering tour. He's been going on tirades and just rants, and we'll just name off a few of them and really figure out what's going on with him, because I've never really seen. I've seen directors get frustrated. I've seen filmmakers make stupid mistakes, particularly online, like Twitter. I've seen it a lot. With remember Josh Trank with the whole Fantastic Four situation, where he put out like a tweet, and he was just like suggesting that he had a better vision for the movie right before the movie came out. Like, really, really bad thing to do. Then the whole Gods of Egypt thing with that one director, where he's just like, screw critics. So it's happened before, this is not anything new. This stuff like this happens all the time. But it's notable because it's Ridley Scott, but also he's been doing it a lot lately. So it's not like he did it one time and then, just kept his mouth shut. He's been pretty vocal, and I want to kind of bring up a couple of things. And I bring this up because most of the stuff that he is saying is stuff that I don't agree with or like. And I think it paints him a certain way. Because I wouldn't bring that up if I agreed with it, because it's not really content at that point if I just say, yeah, Ridley's right. The only thing that I brought up from Ridley as of late was his comments on superhero movies. But that was like a part of a bigger subject that in that video that I did. It was not just about Ridley Scott's comments, it was about a whole bunch of other directors' comments. And I did a whole video on that, but this is a separate video where we're talking about just Ridley Scott's, how Ridley Scott has been handling the press for House of Gucci, more or less. But let's go back to October when The Last Duel came out. So when The Last Duel came out, it was met with mediocre reviews. I remember reading some reviews saying that it was okay. It was trying to do like a Rashomon effect, telling different stories from different angles, or telling the same story but from different perspectives. And it was met with okay responses. And at the time, I said I have really no desire to see it. I mean, again, if I watch it, I watch it, and I'll give it a fair shake. But I just don't have any desire to go see it in theaters. Because my theater experiences, with the pandemic and just in general with all the changes that have been happening in my own personal life, I like to savor my theater experiences more, and I want to save them for films that I really do want to see, and also if I can't see them in the theater, or if I have to see them in the theater, like if there's no other option, then I will go see that film. Like Spider-Man No Way Home. That's a film that I'm curious to see. I'm not super excited to see it, but I'm curious enough to see it, and it's only playing in theaters. So there's also West Side Story, which I'd be fairly curious to see, but that's also playing in theaters. So, films that have my interest that are only being played in theaters, that's like, okay, then I have to go to the theater and see it. The only time that a film that played both in theaters and on streaming, and I decided to go to the theater was for Dune, but that was because everybody was telling me to go to the theater to go see it. You could save your money, by the way. But the point I'm making is I like to make my theatrical experiences special. I don't like to waste them all on just a bunch of movies that I could really care less to see. So, and that's just my perspective of the theatrical experience. I think that it should be a special experience. You shouldn't have to go see every single film in the theater. That's just me. And that's just coming from a film fan point of view. That's not coming from like the filmmaker's perspective or anything of that sort. Because of course, from the filmmaker's perspective, of course they want you to go see it in the theater because that's where they make their money. So I understand. I can kind of get Ridley Scott's irritation, because going back to The Last Duel, while it was critically doing okay, it didn't make a whole lot of money. Last I checked, I can actually check it right now. I don't think it underperformed, but it didn't do all that great. Let me just check real quick. So, because critically it did good, it's sitting at an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it just got also. I didn't realize this. Let me bring this up. But anyway, well, actually no, it did bomb pretty hard. Wow. It had a budget of 100 million and it only made 29 million. So yeah, that's a failure. Yeah, so that's a failure. Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah, it's a box office bomb. but it critically did fairly well. It has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, which again I don't take that super genuine, but it's a good thing to bring up, that it is getting at least good reviews. Um, but it also just recently got on the National Board of Review for being it was selected as one of the top 10 best films of the year. So it has that going for it. So why bring up The Last Duel? Well, all this nonsense from Ridley Scott happened with the box office failure that was The Last Duel. He went on a couple of interviews and he stated that the reason why he believes that The Last Duel bombed as hard as it did is not because of release date, not because of the fact that it was that if I just check the dates correctly, it came out the same month as it was it literally came out the week after Venom 2 came out, the week before Dune came out, nothing like that, nothing reasonable. The reason why he believes that the movie flopped was because of millennials. That's the reason why The Last Duel failed as hard as it did. Um, it's not because of anything else. It has to be millennials. So that was the first like okay, like interesting comment. Um, so which for anyone who has a brain will go, that's that's pretty weird. I'd say that's pretty stupid because to blame a whole generation like that, I mean, to me that sounds to me like a classic example of an older gentleman, like someone who is or the stereotypical older gentleman. Let me just put it that way, where it's just somebody who is just like, oh, those kids on their cell phones, and they should just walk outside. Just like that stereotypical old man mentality. Like that's what that sounded like to me. Because I remember reading the quotes, and I believe he said something along those lines of like something about cell phones and stuff. So that right there, I was just like, okay, maybe he's just having a bad day or so because you know I've seen Ridley Scott in interviews. He seems okay. I mean, he's older, so he's a little bit more reserved, but um, but he seemed okay. Maybe it was just a bad day, and again, maybe he was just a little upset because of the bomb that was The Last Duel. Um, but that was not the end of it. We now go to the house. We now go to House of Gucci, um, and he got a lot more vocal, and for other things, he got the one that happened this morning, which we'll talk about in a second. But the other one that he brought up, the other thing that he started doing a lot, which was he started to ignorantly, I may add, say that the Gucci family's opinions were wrong. So, like the Gucci family, of course, with any biopic that you're gonna do about anybody, a person within the family is obviously going to give their 2 cents on the portrayals of the people in the film, um, and I don't think that they're under any type of legality. I think that I mean, that's in some cases they are. Like I remember when Sully came out. I remember the Clint Eastwood film Sully, and the actual person seemed very happy about the movie. Seems all bubbly and stuff, and very happy for Tom Hanks, and that I did a good job. And then many years later, he pulls a 180, and he's talking really ill on the film. So that's there is stuff like that. There are cases where NDAs are involved. There are times where sometimes the real figure is not saying the full truth. So there are times like that, and then there are times where that doesn't exist. Considering the family, um, and considering just we're talking about the Gucci family here. The Gucci family, they're a big corporation, so they're not going to, for Sully, I can understand why he would have to be under an NDA because he's how to say it. It sounds kind of real. It sounds really dirty of me to say and really bad to say, but I'm just saying mainly from a Hollywood system point of view. I'm not saying what I think. From a Hollywood system point of view, in terms of the subject that they're talking about, Sully isn't that big of a name, and he's not that relevant. So for that, they would have to put an NDA on him. For something like the Gucci family, their name is all over, you know, very like their clothing brand. Their clothing brand is really popular. So with that, the family is really popular, and you know, if they say anything, those words have more weight. Which, you know, I don't really agree with all that. I mean, I don't believe that celebrity words mean anything. But in the landscape of Hollywood and just, you know, media coverage in general, the Gucci family's words are going to mean more than Sully's words. So that's why they would probably have to be, which is surprising because I would think that, you know, like where am I going with this? Basically, what I'm saying, guys, is that Sully, I understand why Sully's under an NDA and why the Gucci family's not under the NDA, because the Gucci family is, they have more power and they have more popularity than Sully does, and with that, they are given more of a leeway on, you know, whether or not they want to have that NDA or not. Sully, not so much. I feel like that they probably needed to have him under that NDA. Like, it was kind of like basically Sully had no choice. That's what I'm saying. Um, so, and it sounds like he was free from his contract like a few years later. So, um, but so the Gucci family. I mean, of course, they've been very vocal on this. With just the portrayals on the film, they've had a lot to say about Lady Gaga, Al Pacino, and Ridley Scott just kept firing back. He kept saying, like, oh no, they're perfect for these roles. You know, they don't know what they're talking about. They're really good in these roles. They should be grateful that these A-list stars are, you know, taking on these parts. Again, really interesting comments. I don't know how to. I mean, it's really ignorant because despite how, you know, where am I going? How do I say this? Just because you cast people in a movie does not mean they're good. That's not that that doesn't mean that they're going to portray those people well. You know, it doesn't mean that. You know, you can cast Al Pacino and Lady Gaga, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do a great job. And also, you're talking about a true story here. So you don't know what really happened. You only are relying on media coverage. And I don't know if he discussed, seeing how the Gucci family has responded to the House of Gucci, I'm going to assume that Ridley Scott did not consult with the family. Um, so you didn't even consult them. So of course they're going to be extra vocal because they were not involved in the process of the film, and they might feel a little insulted as a result, you know, and that's happened a lot of times with biopics. A lot of people, a lot of filmmakers just choose to avoid talking to the real subject. That some people just flat out decide to do that because they just feel it's more creatively pleasing to just have that leniency versus having to cater to that particular person, even though it's their story. You know, I never got that. Like King Richard, for example, I think is a great partnership between the filmmakers and the actual people. Like they talked to Serena and Venus, sorry, and you know, Will Smith talked to them as well, and they came on board as executive producers, and they both, as it seems, genuinely really liked the movie, and they really liked what Will Smith did in the film as well, because they both talked it out. They both discussed what they were going to be doing, Will Smith discussed to them what he was going to be doing, and I'm pretty sure they gave him some advice in return. So, you know, stuff like that goes a long way. You know, having that type of partnership, it's beneficial. And it seems like Ridley Scott didn't choose to do that, which again, if it worked for his film, then great. But from what it sounds like, the film was okay at best. I'm not sure. How is House of Gucci doing at the box office? I'm going to look it up right now. How is House of Gucci doing at the box office? Let's see what it is. House of Gucci. Okay, so House of Gucci right now has a $75 million budget. Right now it has 67 million. So it's doing, I mean, it's still underperforming, but it's way better, comparatively speaking, than The Last Duel. So it's doing better. Um, so that's good. Um, but yeah, um, so yeah, so the response from House of Gucci has been, like I said, it's been pretty divisive. But um, the least that the last thing that Ridley Scott should have been doing was criticizing the family's opinions, because when you make a film about their story and you're trying to do it in a certain way, um, you have no right to say that the family is wrong about their story. Like, that just sounds completely ignorant. And then what I learned this morning, thanks to the internet, is that Ridley Scott, during his promotion for The Last Duel, uh, flat out, sorry, a plane's flying by, um, flat out attacked a journalist for their opinion. And I saw the interview, like it was a Russian interview, um, but the man said that The Last Duel was a very realistic film. Uh, it's not. And he was bringing up like Kingdom of Heaven and whatever the other film was, and he was just saying that The Last Duel was a lot more realistic, saying that, hey, dude, I think that this movie is better than your other work. That's what he was basically stating. Which for some reason the internet's like, well, that's kind of a backhanded compliment. I'm like, no, that's being honest. That's being honest to the filmmaker. That's saying that, hey, dude, I didn't love your work previously, but I really like this one. That's being honest, okay? And that's what publications should be doing. I mean, if you're going to post a review for The Last Duel, and then you're going to go interview the man, like, if it's the same person, like, I mean, be honest. I mean, be honest with your opinions. If Ridley Scott was right here, I would say what I would be saying. If I saw The Last Duel, I would say if it's good, I would say if it's bad. I would say it. I would. That's just, I'm not a person who hides my opinion. But Ridley Scott then just, lets out all these F-bombs and all this stuff, like basically telling the person to go F himself. At one point, he literally says that. And that's where I started to ask myself, is Ridley Scott just in a really bad place right now? Or is Ridley Scott like lost his touch? Is he like, what's going on for Ridley Scott? How's he doing? And that's what I want to ask Ridley Scott. How are you doing? Like, so for some reason, if you ever stumble upon this video, with this 15 subscriber YouTube channel, if you ever somehow stumble upon this, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Because you seem like a really big ignorant, and a big jerk, and also out of touch. Because I can tell you that millennials are not to blame for the Last Duel bombing. It has to do with the fact that your film got released right in the middle of two major blockbusters, Venom 2 and Dune. So that was the reason why your movie flopped. I can also tell you that attacking a journalist for their opinion is a very, very, really childish thing to do, because it's their opinion first off. And also to think that you've never made a bad movie in your life. Because that's what it sounds like when he was like, telling him all that stuff. You have, again, The Counselor. I would love to hear someone who loved The Counselor. Yeah, Cameron Diaz making love to a car. That's all I'm gonna say. So, and telling the family, the Gucci family, that that their opinions are wrong. Yeah, you have no right to say anything like that. The family can say whatever they want. You chose to make a film a certain way, and if that film does not um, if that film does not please the family, then that family has every right to complain because that's their story being told on film, being told to and being marketed. Um, so and you're earning profit off of, or at least for House of Gucci, not Last Duel. Um, so um, so I think what Ridley Scott really needs to do is take a chill pill, as the kids these days say. You need to take a chill pill. You need to go take a nap, and you know, maybe lay off doing press for a little bit because the more and more you're doing it, the more bad you're sounding. So um, you know, so I don't think he has a right to say whatever he wants too. I'm not, but as much of a right he has to say anything he wants, I have the same right also. And for me, what I hear coming from Ridley Scott is a lot of ignorance and a lot of ego, thinking that he's not going to get called out for this type of stuff. Um, and I don't know why a lot of people are not discussing this because it sounds really ignorant. And this is not, again, if this was just an independent filmmaker or just somebody, whoever, I wouldn't make a whole video about it. But we're talking about Ridley Scott, one of the most well-known filmmakers working today and in general. And again, he's made some of my favorite movies of all time: Alien, Blade Runner. Um, so for him to do all this, it's just, I hope that there's a reason for it. I hope that he's just, maybe he's going through a divorce, maybe he's having a bad time at home. I don't know where all this came from. I don't know where all this attitude came from, or and this behavior came from, because it's not looking good for him. And um, all those projects that he has lined up, that affects your future when you make comments like this and you act like this. That does affect your future. Um, so I hope that he, clarifies in the coming days on all the comments that he's made, aka try to salvage all this stuff, because we know that he means this stuff. It's just a matter of just how are you going to cover yourself? How are you going to save your career and all this other stuff? That's why when people like Martin Scorsese, came out, it's like, well, cinema is actually this. I didn't mean it like that. What he's trying to say is, I actually meant it that way, but I want to actually keep a career, so let me actually say this, so that I can move forward and still make movies. Eventually, Ridley Scott is going to make a comment similar to that, so that he can move on and make his. I mean, he has a film that he's supposedly working on next month or so, Joaquin Phoenix, Napoleon. So, so he has work, but it's a matter of like other work in the future. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how everything goes. I don't think it's going to affect him that much, man, because he has a lot of stuff lined up. But the point I'm making is that behavior like this does come with some consequences, and I'm curious to know what those consequences will be, because I wouldn't behave like this. I mean, opinions are opinions, because that's what mostly Ridley Scott is upset with. It's opinions. And I never understand that from a lot of filmmakers. It's just opinions, people. I've had terrible reviews online for the short films that I've done. And I also know that my short films are not Picasso. I know that I've not made anything grand. I've made student films. I know this. They mean a lot to me, but I know that they're not great movies. So, it's just being self-conscious. It's also just, being respectful and understanding that when you put out a film, everybody's going to have an opinion, and you just have to just take it. So, so yeah, so I don't know what's going on with him. I just been noticing a trend with him these past 2 weeks, and I don't know, like it's really weird. I heard that he's been like this before in the past, And if he has, it had to have been sporadic, because this is like a big chunk, you know? And it's just, I don't know, a lot of it rubs me the wrong way. A lot of it rubs me the wrong way, especially the Gucci family thing. He has no right to say all that stuff. Oh, Al Pacino's great. You should, you know, shut up. He's great. It's like, the complete the ignorance that he had in a lot of these interviews. It just it rubbed me the wrong way, especially when you're doing like if it was like the Last Duel, which is like basically a piece of fiction. It's not there's no truth to the matter. I mean, there's some stuff that they're using that's based on true stuff. That's fine, but we're talking. Sorry, my cat just walked out. Um, or lock yourself out. I don't know. Give me a second. Say hello to Kiki, guys. This is the monster that sometimes peeks in my videos and is clearly not happy right now. So I'm gonna let you go. So yes, Ridley Scott. I don't know what's been going on with him. Some really weird comments, but hopefully in the future we'll have some answers. So um, or at least have hopefully this behavior is fixed. So and is hopefully he learns the value of opinion and all that stuff. Because opinions are good. It's good to hear about what people think, because that can help improve you as an artist. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I dedicated like 30 minutes to this. I don't know why I just went so long on this video, but you guys let me know your thoughts on Ridley Scott's comments. Are they weird? Are they in line with who he is? Has this behavior is this like consistent with him? Like, has he been like this before in the past? You guys let me know. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. My next video, hopefully I'm gonna do a lot of reviews. I got a lot of movies that I got to catch up on streaming. So I'm definitely gonna be doing a lot of reviews. So stay tuned for a lot of reviews coming on this channel. But yeah, if anything else happens, definitely do a video on it. But for the time being, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. If I sound crazy, let me know, because I'll be honest, halfway through this video I was just like, am I making some sense? So if you guys let me know. Again, a little tired, so if I sounded like I was not making a lot of sense, you guys let me know. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, whatever that's going to be. Probably a review. So, and I'm going to go take care of my cat because she wants to go outside now. So, alright guys, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.